What is good, people of YouTube? Youngster Japer here with my first Pokemon X and Y Wi-Fi battle, and this is pretty much like my first 6th gen Wi-Fi battle I've actually had, you know, like singles, OU and all that, and this is the first time I'm using this team as well, so I've basically built this team around Mega Pinsir, which is going to be the Mega on my team, and because he is times 4 weak to the Stealth Rock, so I've gone for the bulky Rapid Spinner Excadrill, and I've basically just thrown in a specially defensive Rotom Wash, a Stealth Rock in Ferrothorn, and then a Specs Noivern and a Scarf Inflate. And I'm looking at my opponent's team, and I am pretty much like shitting myself because he's got threats upon threats there. You know, the Lucario, which I'm presuming to be his Mega. He's got the Talonflame with then Priority Brave Birds tearing through my team. He has the Greninja as well, which is another really fast Pokemon, and of course he has the Garchomp, so I'm really scared. And of course he does have the Gliscor as well, which, you know, I definitely don't want to try and play around the way he could, you know, potentially have like Sub and Protect and Toxic Store like my entire team really, as well as having a T-Tar. So anyway, yeah, it's enough for me talking. Let's go ahead and get straight into the battle. So I'm basically going to predict my opponent's lead off with his Tyranitar, and you know, to try and get him Stealth Rocks up onto the field. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lead off with my Caesar, which is my Choice Scarf Infinite, and you know, if he doesn't end up leading off with his Tyranitar, I can always U-turn out, basically presume that I will be able to outspeed anything on this team. But he does lead off with his Tyranitar, and I'm noticing that nothing really wants to take close combat, so I'm going to stay in and just straight up cleanly take out his Tyranitar. I don't even care if you're defensive, man, you're going down to that. And that is a dead ass Pokemon stat. Again, that's a good threat taken out of his team. I kind of half expecting he would have been specially defensive just because he does have the Gliscor, which are normally physically defensive. So yeah, I'm straight away first on the battle. I'm 6-5 up, and he, you know, in comes that Gliscor that I was telling you about, the physically defensive. You know, just don't really want to like play around them. So I bring in my my Ferrothorn, be able to take any incoming hit off this thing as well. And I basically want to try and get my Stealth Rocks off as early as possible in this match because he does have that Talonflame, which is, you know, can basically tear through my entire team if my Rotom Wash isn't around. So, you know, I knew the Talonflame was coming in. I was tempted to go for the T-Wave, crippling thing, but of course he does have that Gale Wings ability, which does give him priority on any flying type moves. So I set my Stealth Rocks, and because I don't see a spinner on his team, then Stealth Rocks are set to stay for the entire match. And basically what I'm going to do now is just switch out into my Rotom Wash. As I said, you know, this thing pretty much walls Talonflame like to no end. It resists both of his stab moves, and I don't even think like a return would even do that much either, you know. But then like, who runs return on Talonflame? So obviously, you know, that Talonflame is definitely not going to want to stay in now, so I'm going to predict the switch, and I'm actually going to go for the Will-O-Wisp, hoping to hit like an incoming Lucario or Greninja, or, you know, or no Garchomp or anything. But you know, he does predict that quite nicely, and switches out into his Gliscor, which, you know, is fairly reasonable play. I mean, I could have gone for the Hydro Pump then, cleanly taken out his Gliscor. So you know, bit of a misplay on my opponent's part, I guess, but you know, it does pay off for him, and he is actually making all of the right predictions here, as he does predict my switch, and he's going to go for that U-turn, you know, enabling him to get that switch initiative. And I'm seeing U-turn and Earthquake on this Gliscor, and I'm thinking basically this guy has gone hyper offensive. I mean, he's got threats upon threats, and even his defensive wall has got like 2 attacking moves so far as well. And he U-turns straight out into this Greninja, and I'm seeing that this isn't really a favourable matchup. The way he brings it in kind of tells me is going to be Choice Scarf in order to outspeed my Noivern. So I'm fearing the Ice Beam. I'm going to, you know, straight up switch out into my especially defensive Rotom. Thankfully he doesn't predict that, and he does just go for the Ice Beam, which isn't going to do much to Calgon. And actually it's going to end up doing me a favour more, because it does bring me down to the point where I can get my Citrus boost, and you know, I'm basically at the same HP as I was before I was hit with an Ice Beam. So again, you know, I'm predicting him to switch out into his Gliscor this time, and you know, as he did last time, and I'm basically just going to straight up go for that Hydro Pump. Fortunately I do hit, and that's easily going to be able to take out this thing. And you know, I don't even care whether he's got investment in the HP, and that's a super effective Hydro Pump coming from a Rotom Wash. And as you know, that Gliscor is gone, he is out of there. So now he brings in this Greninja. The way he brings it in again, you know, kind of tells me he's going to have that Grass Knot, so I'm going to switch out into my my Ferrothorn to be able to take the Grass Knot. I think he does times 4 resist that, and of course, because I didn't realise this myself either, but apparently Grass Knot is a special base move that makes physical contacts with the opponent, and I am running the Iron Barbs and the Rocky Helmet variant of the Ferrothorn. So you know, the residuals that this thing's bringing to the match is just something that is beyond me. And obviously his his Greninja is definitely not going to want to stay in there, so I predict the switch out into his Garchomp. Tempted again to go for the T-Wave, thankfully I didn't, and I go for the Leech Seed, which is actually the better move for myself. And you know, just any residual damage on this Garchomp is going to be nice as well. So and again, you know, the way that he brought in that Garchomp kind of tells me he's going to have like the Flamethrower or the Fire Blast. And my opponent's kind of making all of the obvious moves now in the battle, which is, you know, extremely easy for myself to predict. So I do go into my specially defensive wall again, which is my Rotom. And you know, basically this the Ferrothorn and the Rotom Wash make, you know, a really good defensive core of my team and can basically take any hit that my opponent has. So again, you know, I am going to predict him to switch out back into his Greninja in order to go for the Grass Knot. But you know, I'm just predicting all over the place here. And I actually go for the Light Screen, sorry, this turn. And now, yeah, my opponent makes a better play actually, and doesn't go for the Grass Knot again. He actually switches up moves and goes for the Extra Sensory, predicting my Ferrothorn to come back in. But because I do have the Light Screen up, that Extra Sensory isn't going to be doing much to my my Pinsir. And I know that I can go Mega this turn and basically kill anything on his team with a Quick Attack, as he does end up switching back out into his Garchomp. The way he did that kind of like thought that he might have been like a defensive variant of a Garchomp, but thankfully isn't. I am able to go Mega. Basically a couple of Quick Attacks is going to kill this thing off. I mean, Mega Pinsir in my opinion is an absolute monster of a Pokemon. I'm so glad that like it's good enough in order to basically rape anything on the team, and but isn't like too broken in order for him to get banned into Ubers as well. So, and as I said, a couple of Quick Attacks is easily going to take out this thing, as he does bring in this Talonflame and gets, you know, utterly raped in the ass by them Stealth Rocks, being the Time Swirl weak to Rock. And now I'm basically going to switch out into my Rotom Wash again, which, you know, it easily falls this thing to God knows end, and I can basically finish off the rest of his team here. I mean, it's pretty much good game from here, so all I want to do now is really just secure the good 6-0, kind of shouting out to all you people out there that, you know, I am back and I'm ready to tear through little baby souls. So he's going to switch out into his Greninja now, but of course, as again, a fairly questionable play. I don't know whether he's brought in his Greninja basically as Death Fire, because I thought the T-Bolt was fairly obvious there. I think even the Hydro Pump would have taken out his Greninja from that amount of HP after Stealth Rocks. And in comes his Lucario, and you know, because he hasn't gone Mega with the Garchomp, I am actually expecting this thing to be Mega, but I don't know, I think my opponent must have misclicked, because I just about lived the close combat there. 3 HP, a Rotom Wash MVP of this match by far, and I'm able to smack that thing in the face with a Will-O-Wisp, which is basically crippling this thing as well. And now that I know this is a physical Lucario, I can safely switch in any of my Pokemon and not fear any type of move either. As we actually do end up seeing him go for the Mega Evolution on the following turn, so I think if my opponent did go for the Mega Evolution on the first turn, it could have been a bit of a different match. I mean, I do still have all my Pokemon left alive there, so I think the win is pretty much secured. And now that thing is burned, I'm basically going to be able to take any hit from this thing. He actually goes for the Poison Jab and gets the Poison as well, which doesn't matter at all. But I think the fact that he does have the Poison Jab is a bit of a questionable play, in my opinion. I mean, I know that the Poison type is super effective against Fairy Pokemon, which, you know, are kind of dominating the metagame at the moment. But, you know, I mean, Mega Lucario gets Stab, Bullet Punch, and what more do you really need to be able to take on a Fairy type Pokemon? So, now just a little something to think about there. And I am easily able to take out the Lucario with the Earthquake, and after Stealth Rock damage, that Talonflame is going to die as well. So that is an easy 6-0. Shout out to my opponent though, you know, it was a great game. Just, you know, those predictions, man, were just too much. So thank you very much for watching this video, guys. Please leave a comment down below and give me basically like any tips and pointers that you think would help improve the quality of my uploads. I mean, obviously, you know, this has been recorded with a camcorder, so in terms of quality it isn't going to be the best, but you know, just any tips that you think might make it look a little bit better. Any features that I think would be better as well. I'm debating whether I want to use a layout or not, from Photoshop or not, for my wife battles or not. But for the time being, I'm going to stick with what it is at the moment, and just basically try and get that quality to be as good as possible. So yeah, if you'd like to follow me on Twitter, that'd be absolutely amazing. I will be looking for battles over my Twitter page, as I'm unable to get onto Skype at the moment. And Don't forget to smash that like button, and you know, all the support will be absolutely amazing, and of course leave a comment down below as I said. So like, favourite, subscribe, share, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!